Welcome to Ask Dr. Tom. We connect with Dr. Tom to talk about all things health and wellness, cancer treatment, etc. This is Ask Dr. Tom with Dr. Thomas Incledon. He's the founder and CEO of Causenta Wellness and the Causenta Cancer Treatment Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. From working with NFL, MLB, MMA, world-class athletes, and even the White House, Dr. Tom's reputation of personalized medicine and cutting-edge technologies have put him on the map for caring for some of the most powerful people in the world, making him one of the most sought-after healthcare professionals of our time. Dr. Tom, my son works in the pharmacy at a national chain, and he texted me the other day, and he said, "Dad, Asian people are coming into the store, into the pharmacy, and they're buying up these surgical masks like crazy." He says, "Do they know something we don't know?" And I said, "I don't think so, but I'm going to ask Dr. Tom." So everybody in my family today is asking me, have you talked to Dr. Tom about the coronavirus yet? So Dr. Tom, what should Americans know about this? Should they be freaked out? Should people be buying surgical masks?
No, I don't think they should be freaked out. So right now, there's only been 5 cases reported in the U.S., and so it's certainly not a lot. And the thing that I would look at is, one, if your immune system is strong, you naturally have protection against anything that could be thrown at you. So things like getting enough sleep, making sure vitamin D levels are good, making sure you exercise, eating lots of different berries. You know, they have natural antiviral properties. Things like green tea, garlic and onions, all these different strategies. You know, they don't change just because we discovered something new. They still have application.
What are some of the best berries people could be and should be eating?
Oh, man. Blackberries get a lot of attention because of a lot of benefits they have. But I would say, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, good place to start with.
And as far as the likelihood, and, a lot of these viruses that get picked up on the TV from, year to year, people tend to kind of flip out a little bit. I'm thinking of there was the pig virus or a swine flu or something, and it seems like they kind of peter out after a while, or at least the attention of that does. Do people in the United States really, is this one of those things where you think that people are going to be spreading this rapidly in airports and things like that?
Well, so there's all kinds of screening initiatives that are being implemented right now. So on one hand, the United States gets a lot of product from China. I want to say I read somewhere like 558, is it million? I don't remember the exact metric, but we get a lot of stuff from China. So of course it's going to raise a concern, like if all the stuff is coming, what if it's contaminated? So what the CDC says is, hey, the likelihood of any of the stuff being contaminated and creating a problem is really low. There's this theoretical possibility that these respiratory droplets that could be, present can be a way of spreading the virus. Well, that's not usually going to be on most of the product that's coming from there. So it almost would have to be like close contact is what I'm getting at. And so what I would say right now is it doesn't, unless you're planning to go to Wuhan, China or something like that, it doesn't seem like most people have to worry too much. But there are initiatives that are going to be set up in airports to increase screening just to protect people in the U.S.
Is it going to be like in the movies where they're kind of just scanning to see what your temperature, like your surface temperature is and things like that?
I was thinking of more like one of the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where they scan you and you see your X-ray, like your skeleton moving, type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the actual scanning devices they're going to be using now.
So by and large, in the grand scheme of things, people tend to freak out or worry about a lot of times just the wrong things. So, they may freak out about something. You're never going to go to Wuhan, China. So really, maybe they should redirect their concern in general toward what's more likely to happen here in this time of year for regular everyday people that they should really maybe plan against.
Well, I guess it kind of depends where you are in the U.S. right now. So last couple of days in Arizona, man, it's been gorgeous weather. It's been hotter than I can remember years past. So it almost feels to me like it's paradise right now. So there's not too much to prepare against. But I guess in other parts of the country where it's quite a bit colder and stuff like that, I think maybe people just have to consider, well, how are they making sure they're keeping their immune system strong so they're less vulnerable to changes in temperature and stuff like that.
What are the best things that we can do? I mean, you mentioned eating berries, but what else can people do that's fairly simple on a regular basis to keep their immune system the best that it can be? Maybe things to avoid or things to add?
So, well, things to avoid, internalizing stress. I think what I'm seeing is a lot of people dwelling on things, and it's kind of like replaying something over and over in your head. It doesn't make anything better, right? All it does is it just increases the stress that you're experiencing internally, and if anything, suppress immune function. So maybe one aspect you might say, sort of like a big picture thing, is just learn to accept some stuff and not get so hung up on it, so that you could free your mind to move on and then not stress yourself out internally. Another one would be just making sure you're getting adequate sleep, because one of the things we're starting to see more and more with all these different measurements that we're able to take now is dysfunctional sleep patterns creates enormous amounts of inflammation in the body. We've actually uncovered that just 1 to 3 nights lack of sleep can increase inflammatory markers so much it would, on paper, would make it seem worse than if that person had a terminal cancer. So this is stuff that, if you're thinking about how can you improve your immune system, well, don't sabotage it, right? So that's stuff everybody could control. And usually the biggest intervention or the biggest area to make impact is, a lot of people say, well, I have to get up early every morning. Well, then just plan to go to bed early, right? So like if you know you need 8 hours, well, then backtrack and just do it. But instead what happens is they force one thing, they don't change the other thing. So the end result is they get less sleep, and then it just catches up and their immune system gets weaker.
Sleep is one of those things that when you're a guy in your 20s, and you hear people talk about it, it seems laughable because you could just lay down at night and go to sleep and have no problems. I see and hear people that are getting into their 30s and their 40s and older. They seem to talk about sleep in a different way, and I never understood it until I got older. And so I'm wondering, what is it about getting older that tends to chip away at the good sleep that you get? Is it lifestyle, or is it genetics, or is it just being old?
Well, so you got general trends that as we get older and we get more responsibilities, we tend to use less of our body. So the trend is we move away from more physical demanding tasks or challenges to less physically demanding challenges. And so there's that lack of use aspect. There's kind of a funny saying, and the saying is like, we don't get old and stop working out. We stop working out and then we get old. And so, so we just got to remember, use it or lose it. That's a kind of a basic idea. But I would add maybe to that we want to use things in an appropriate or a healthy way. So, if you're bone on bone in your knees, it may not be a good idea to be doing box jumps and depth jumps, things like that, so that you're hurting your knees more. You may have to modulate the intensity of the activity so you don't aggravate the condition more. What I would say is that one of the things that happens as people get older is, depending on how old they are, you start to see the people around you are passing away. So there's sort of that aspect of losing motivation and losing that drive to keep doing all the stuff we did when we were younger. And so that might be a good reason for people to maintain their connection with others in the community. So now there's sort of like that positive energy reason why you got to keep on going.
So I'm asked all the time by patients, what's the difference between personalized medicine and traditional medicine? And in traditional medicine, there's a singular approach. So you have cancer A, and for cancer A, here is the standard of care treatment. And after you go through the standard of care treatment and it doesn't work, typically there's not a plan B. There's not another option. So then patients are told, hey, there's nothing else that can be done. And so then they're convinced that, hey, there's no hope and we can't do anything else. Now I want to contrast that in a personalized approach that we have at Causenta. we're going to measure all kinds of details within your body. And we're going to find lots of areas that we can actually improve your health. And then indirectly, by improving those areas, we're going to help you do a better job at fighting cancer. So where someone else would say, hey, there's nothing that could be done, we're going to say, hey, there's lots of opportunity here to improve your health and make sure that you have a better quality of life so that you're able to function and live life under your own terms and not just waste away in a bed in hospice somewhere and watch everything go by you as time passes on. So if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with cancer and you're looking to get help, I strongly encourage you to go to Causenta.com and fill out the form at the bottom of the page and find out for yourself how we can help you.